Welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole with Chibi and us. Today we'll be talking about life. What? Oh, Jesus. Life. Jesus, what the hell's going on? There we go. Life lessons with Uramichi Onisan.
Try again.
No, that's good. That's good. We're keeping that. That's
no,
fine.
I meant the word.
Oh no, what did we say wrong? Uramichi?
No.
Or Onisan.
Onisan? Onisan, I said right? Right? Yeah.
Oni is it? Do you pronounce both eyes?
What were you gonna say, Brad? You were gonna say Oni.
San?
Onisan. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to derail
A
us here.
parentheses anime, because it is an anime.
Correct. That is.
This is one that I hold dear to my heart because I am pretty much just the main character in real life, super athletic, super accomplished. But just
what are you
inside,
accomplished in, bro?
I know you guys, and that's all the accomplishment that I need.
Wow, that was so sweet.
No,
that's
that's
the nicest thing he's ever
that's
said.
stupid. Like, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
How are you
realest thing he's ever said to us.
That was the nicest thing he's ever said to me.
Okay, I guess
that
I'll
is
never
not
say
a lie,
anything nice
GB.
again.
He says such nice things about you, and then he asks, "Why do you hate me so much?"
Okay, nicest thing he said to my face. There we go.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair.
Well, probably.
That's a fair.
That's gonna go. All right, thank you, Brad, for the intro.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah. I'm
great.
working on it. It's
great.
work in progress.
So this came out in
wonderful.
2021, 13 episodes. It's considered a dark comedy. It's not. I mean, honestly, this is kind of the perfect show for today, right?
Yeah.
Especially given the climate. And I, like me and Brad talked about this. We don't think that it's a perfect anime. We do think that it's a kind of one trick pony, right? But they nail the humor in it. I think it's because we're all dead inside, essentially.
Yeah.
That's just
fair.
how it is. So let's talk about, Brad. Why did you choose this anime?
Because the last show that we watched was that other show that we watched.
You're right.
So Summertime Rendering, that was it.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And it was a little too serious, and I was like, you know what, let's turn it to 11 the opposite direction.
This was as serious at times, man.
It's an irrelevant show, right? There's not a real strong plot. It's kind of like a day of the life of, or like a life slice of life type.
Did you mean irreverent, or did you mean irrelevant?
Irrelevant. It's definitely relevant.
Oh, it's irreverent, right?
Okay, yeah, sure. We'll go with
irreverent.
Irreverent, right?
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. But it's a funny kind. I really like the kind of satire humor, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just the
sarcasm.
Unseriousness. Yeah, the unseriousness of the seriousness. It's a kid show, but it's dark. And I enjoy feeling sad about my happiness. So
it's definitely the most relatable
show
I think I've seen, and it's one of those shows that's really rare because it shows like people in their late 20s, early 30s, right? Adults going through, and it also gives like kind of that, and they've done this before in movies and other TV shows where it's like they show the background of what it's like to work on like a TV show or a kid show, and no one seems super happy. Like people seem burnt out. Like we tend to forget like what we see on TV is not necessarily what is actually happening. And so yeah, no, I really thought it was funny, like from the jump, like all the comedy, and it was like deadpan humor. And then I don't know, man, maybe it's because he just comes off as so sad about everything, dude. Like, yeah, I used to be a really good gymnast. I had dreams. He just like goes off on a tangent about why things just don't work out for people. What's it like to be a responsible adult, have accountability? I was like, oh my, this dude's killing me. I love how the kids are like, why is he so sad? Like what? Like the kids,
and then they play along with it.
Yeah, the kids are trying to catch on and say, is he finally dead? Like what's going on?
No, I thought those like quips were so funny because it was like the kids are knowing. I mean, kids are really smart, so like I thought it was very relatable. With some of their responses, like you're like, damn, a kid would say that. Yeah, I've had young kids say crazy shit like that.
It's basically the show of having like an existential crisis the entire time.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked. I was wondering if like every episode was going to like link to something. I mean, there's certain callbacks, but mostly it's just like
one shots.
Yeah, one shots. every time. Let's show how shitty the director is. Like, let's go.
Dude, fuck that guy. He was like so funny, but he was so fucked up, man.
Let's film a summer episode during the winter.
And a winter episode during peak summer.
That was brutal.
That I what do you think, which one was worse? Like, honestly, I feel like the heat was worse. Like, just watching that episode, like,
having been in Japan in the summer, it is brutal. Like, it's like hot.
it's fucking
and humid.
awful.
Yeah,
it's Florida. It's basically Florida,
Yeah,
and you're always outside.
Yeah, it can be very muggy. And then like you had the two dudes. Who is it? They're in the bear. They're in the rabbit costume.
Yeah.
Usahara, and like Kumatani. Like then the bear.
Yeah.
And the rabbit costume, dude. That was awful. I was like, dude, it's got to be like 100, 200 degrees in there. Like,
Dude, it was insane. Yeah, I like how he who is it? Kumatani put the director in the suit. He just snapped. He's like, "You're getting in here."
Well, I mean, like
Right.
it also kind of references like Japanese work culture.
Yeah,
How I think it's like 6 days a week. Like,
dude, it's
ish.
insane. It's 6 days. Yeah, and they like stay late too.
And it's from like it's like from 9 to 9.
Yeah.
And then like certain companies, there are black companies out there that pretty much do like 24 hours. Like you sleep in the office. That's crazy, dude.
Like you live there.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, I remember watching this, Brad, and I was like, I don't remember anything. And I was like, oh, this is still really funny. That's kind of shocking. Jack, what did you think of the show, man?
It was good. I like the humor. I like how
it was
realistic.
dubbed.
Yes. I like that it was dubbed. I don't know. I like the little lessons that he learns throughout the series, and you know, like we all wake up before work in the morning and we're like, again.
It's the rat race, bro. That's what I'm saying. It's really relevant to like today. It's got irreverent humor, right? Stuff that like I think adults will find funny. It's clearly geared toward like adults, like
Absolutely.
I would say if you're like a teen, you don't watch this because then it kind of like pushes, like has you like think that life is gonna suck the entire time, dude. But as an adult, it's like you can see how like work weighs on you, and how just like everyone is just beat up, and no matter how like I love how every character just does not look happy, and they all know that Uramichi's like the saddest person on the show, and they're all trying to avoid him sometimes. Like, I really love how like Usahara gets his ass beat all the time. Like he didn't even comment. He's like, yeah, he doesn't have
Bro,
he doesn't have any hobbies.
I was gonna say that's my favorite part. Every time Usahara gets his ass beat, bro.
I can't remember what show it was where like Usahara said something. No, it was the winter episode where they were filming the winter episode. Like Usahara's getting choked out in the background while they're filming two other things. I was like, dude, what is up with this guy? Chibi, what was your thoughts on the show?
Man, I got a lot of thoughts here.
Lay it on me.
Bean, no, stop. You can't interject. Honestly, I really liked it. I thought it was super relatable. The first episode. Sorry, 1 second. Can we take a pause on me? Can you talk about your thoughts? I'm gonna get Bean a blanket.
Sure. I think like the other thing I really liked was just how whenever they had like conversations amongst themselves in Europe, and he like showed up, they were just like kind of looked over to see if he was gonna kill him or not. What was that one episode, dude, where they were like he like stayed at work and they thought he was dead, but he was sleeping with his eyes open. So, when he was like making all the he was it like the little balls and stuff like that? He was like adding his own little spin to him, and then like he making his own merchandise. Because the director was like, "Hey, can you make a couple of these?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." Yeah. And then they found him like laying down. Oh, he slept at work. Let's make fun of him. He's like, "Is he alive? Is he dead? What's going on?" All right, Chibi,
okay.
what's going on?
Back. No, I thought it was really relatable. Like the first episode, I was like, oh, like I don't know, like how I feel about it. I thought it was very just like all over the place. But then like by the second episode, I think it really grew on me with like the humor, and I kind of like knew what to expect with like the episodes. Because how we kind of talked about it, like they're kind of like one shots. They do kind of touch base and integrate, especially like towards the end with like the backstories and stuff. Like they can kind of build off each other. But I really enjoyed it. Can we talk about how the ending is literally one of the best and like songs that I have heard in such a hot minute?
I liked it. Yeah.
I loved the ending. I thought it was one of my
So
favorites.
fun.
I immediately
I
added
love
that
the
shit on
intro.
Spotify.
Intro is fire.
Okay. To that,
Why
I
do
say
you
to each
say
their
it like
own.
that, bro?
To each their own, Bradithan. To each their own.
Why do you say it like that?
Um,
When you say that, that's one of his life lessons.
I need to be reminded what my ABCs are sometimes. And
Hey,
I know.
that opening is boring. You got to do something different. I want you to do backflips and stuff like that while I.
my favorite was when his neck was
He's like,
hurt
nah.
and he was like,
Oh yeah,
trying
it's
to
like
turn it.
so like we filmed the traffic episode. It's like, oh, what are you talking about? We lost all of the footage.
All
And
the
now we have to
footage.
film it now. Like that. Like
Oh.
how are kids gonna know when to cross the street? Now?
I thought that shit was so
And as
good.
ridiculous as I said, I was like, that kind of makes sense, dude, if you're like a public access show and stuff like that. But dude, that's got to be soul crushing. You have, was it 4 people? All of them are like trained singers and stuff like that, and they want to be actors. They had like huge dreams, and it's like, here I am, dressed up as a ball.
when they had like the bread hats on.
Dude, I could not stop laughing
Oh,
when he
God.
came out with the bread hat because of how mad Uramichi looked. He was like,
I think my favorite bit about like this whole show is like how they played off of Uramichi. Like they made him have all the weird costumes. Like I loved the oh my god, when he was like the herb, which herb was he? The shiso leaf?
oh yeah.
I thought that was so funny. And the fact that they would look at him and just start cackling like they couldn't finish a sentence. I thought just like that banter was really funny. And then I loved how that his imaginary friend or not imaginary friend, but like that thing in his dream.
Oh, the nightmare.
They ended up
Whatever that
becoming
thing
like
is.
the mascot or whatever. And
Yeah.
they just like completely ran with it, like so subtly. And I think you mentioned it earlier too, with like the balls where he had to like draw on it. I really thought it was funny that they just kept like playing off of anything that
Or like
he
how I like
conjured
how
up.
merchandising was like, yeah, man, we
Yeah.
made this life size doll that you won at bingo and stuff like that.
You won a lot at bingo.
I'm
Oh
like
my
Kakaku
God.
like became my favorite character because I'm a huge fan of like Johnny Young Bosch, right? Johnny Young Bosch, for those who
Oh,
know, is
yeah.
like he's a former Red Ranger, right? And,
Oh, okay,
and he's a
okay.
very prominent voice actor. He voiced Vash the Stampede. He's done like a ton of stuff since like the
A lot.
90s.
Okay.
And so when he came out as Kakaku and started yelling at him, I loved the way he was like screaming into the phone and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I
I
love
was
it
gonna say,
in
yeah.
that episode where like he's like trying to show like, I was like, oh, this guy's really sympathetic. He it kept closing
And then
the
like the
heart.
gates are opening. The opening of the door and then immediately closed,
He's like-
locked up.
He's like the whole time he's like, oh god, like I can't.
I was gonna say, I really do like Kikaku. I thought he was really funny. Like he just seemed deranged
He was
and
the
like
only
overworked.
he was the only person that could match Uramichi's like intensity.
Yeah.
but he did it in like a very chaotic, angry way.
Yeah.
I just
The two sides.
because everyone else is kind of like went with it, right? Everyone was like, yeah, that's fine, dude. Like Daga is like this formal musical actor. Like he's pretty much a Labrador, right? Yeah, he's a puppy dog just trying to
I
sing.
love
and
him.
who says like who can't
My
stand it when
mans.
people say like dick jokes.
Oh my god, I thought that was so funny. He just starts.
And then every time they actually show him in the show, or like when it's not the show and they're like having a dialogue, it's like he dreams of food. He's like,
Oh yeah, with
imagining-
like the onigiri,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
yeah.
It was very good.
But yeah, no, that was my vibe with it. I did enjoy it. I thought it was good.
It's also like a tragedy too, if you want to like
Yeah.
think about it. Like you don't want, and you don't necessarily want to, right? But you're just like, dude, as
Well,
an adult, I'm sitting there like, oh man, that sucks, dude.
Yeah.
That you have to go through.
I mean,
all
it was
this
really
shit.
relatable. I liked the discussion though about like, how all of them had dreams and aspirations, especially they kind of talked about in the beginning. Like, what was it Utano like talked about how she was like a singer, like all this stuff, and like she's like, oh, now I'm here. But it's real. It's like your dreams and your aspirations sometimes will manifest in different ways. Like you can achieve them differently, but it's might not be exactly where you thought you'd be in the long
I've
run.
been in a relationship for 6 years with a really bad comedian. And she's a good girlfriend, dude. She like tries to support
Yeah.
this.
Bro, she picked the meat for him. Like, come on.
I love when she
bro.
was like thinking about it too, and he was like just thinking back, just like, oh, I'd love to, try that Wagyu beef. He's like, give me the beef back. Like, are you sure? Like, what the fuck? Like, you don't want anything
Dude.
else? I thought
And
that
then
was-
at the one of the end episodes where he like calls her and she's like, a wedding? And he's like, yeah, my friend's getting married. And she's just like, I felt felt so bad for her. I was like, damn girl.
Dude, that's relatable too. There are people out there who have like been in relationships for 6 to 10 years. Those are, essentially just domestic partners or whatever. I'm like,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
I had a friend like that. They were in a relationship for like 10. I even asked them, I was like, yo, are you two ever getting married? And she was like, I don't want to talk about it right now because I will fucking strangle this man. I had to pull him to the side too. I was like, yeah, man, you should probably ask eventually. He's like, I'm working on it, man. I was like, it's been 10 years, dude. You guys have known each other since high school. I think she wants to kill you. You guys should probably move that shit along, man.
Felt.
Yeah. Kobe, don't watch this episode, big dog.
It's okay. I don't think you will. We're good.
Kobe, don't watch this episode. Oh, dude,
Don't
that's
ask me.
bad. Now Brad's gonna be messaging. It's like, what's Kobe saying? Dude, when she streams, I want Brad to be the agent of chaos and just be like, hey, Kobe.
Just add him. Hey, did you watch our newest episode?
Dude, you should really check it out at the 17-minute mark. We have a conversation about you.
Oh my god.
Hey, we shouted you out in our last episode.
We gave you a
Yeah,
shout out, brother. Go ahead. Go
Oh
ahead
my
and
God.
take a look.
That'll totally bring him here.
Nah, he'd probably forget. It's alright.
But
Yeah, relatable. Understood.
Yeah, the whole
Understood.
thing is relatable, right? You're like you. It's kind of weird too because like there's a loyalty to their job, which is something like
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone can relate to that, like because I was loyal to my job for 7 years until I realized like I gotta it was soul crushing. I was actually 31 when I left my job. Like Uramichi, I was 31 and I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore, dude.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
couldn't.
I've been there, but I wouldn't say like my tenure was long, but it was one of those where I put so much effort into it. And then when I kind of realized like it wasn't reciprocated, like you said, it's very soul crushing because you're like, now what?
Yeah.
Like you bank a lot of it on it.
Yeah. I mean, you just kind of sit on it for. My whole thing was like just sitting on it for so long because eventually they can't be Onisans forever, right? I mean, I'm assuming they'll just transition.
It could be.
They could be, yeah. They could just, dude, that'd be brutal. Brother, you're 55.
Fucking 60 trying to do backflips.
You're 60 still doing kid shows. Like I still got one more left in me, bro. Maybe that, but that would be the age you're like so deranged, right? And so broken. You're just like, yeah, this is great, dude. I wake up every day and I do this, and you never talk about it, but you have that moment, that one day where you're just rambling on, and you're just like talking about your job. You're like, are you okay? It's like, I'm perfect.
They do an epilogue that's like 50 years in the future where they're like entertaining the elderly.
Yeah, they're in an entertainment home. They're in an elderly home. Like, all right, I'm gonna do one backflip and hopefully it kills me.
It's funny.
May I land on my skull on this one? Why won't you guys let me die? That's basically the premise of the show. Because when I kept looking up reviews about this, people were like, oh, it's funny, but it's like a one note thing. And I was like, dude, I don't think if you're under the age of like 25, you might not like this show. If you are, you might appreciate like the actual things that are being said because it's very relatable to like you're not really gonna learn too much about it because it's just like, hey, did you know that your life
you relate more to the children in the show?
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, the kids are fucking right, dude. Like, you cannot relate to the children or the skits. Like, I now know how to look left and right when crossing the street.
They had some banger songs. Don't get me wrong, man. I was like, damn.
But that's one of those things, right? Because like having lived in Japan, having like seen these public access shows, dude, I've always wondered, like, how do you come in with such enthusiasm all the time, or is it just like something you flip on and off? Because I'm not
It's
like
something
that.
you flip on.
Probably,
I
yeah.
am.
Probably that.
No, you just flip it on.
Nah.
No, it's literally like I feel like I joke and I say I have like a dual personality, but it's really like that. Like you know how to like turn on and be presentable and be personable, and then it's like when nothing, like when the camera's off or like when you don't have to do that, you're like,
yeah, in the hood we call it code switching. You know what I mean?
no, that's basically it. Thank you so much.
Especially when
That's basically it.
When I gave presentations, but I never looked enthusiastic ever. Like I
Really?
had someone today, we were doing something and then we were in a meeting and they're like, oh, aren't you enthusiastic? Aren't you like happy that we're a part of this team? I was like, listen, here's my secret. I am never happy when I'm here.
Let me keep it real.
Never happy, guys.
Damn, it's kind of sad. You want to talk about it?
Well, no, at work, like I don't want to do my job, bro. Like
Who wants to do their
here's
job?
the thing. I did 7 years in the Navy, right? And then I worked in the government. I work supply chain.
Oh,
Did I
Ooh.
fall?
anti-procurement.
Did I fall into supply chain? Like, yes. I initially wanted to do medical, right? I think Brad, we're kind of the same. But Brad, you wanted to do what in medical first?
I went to nursing school.
Went to nursing.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
but-
I wanted
Yeah.
to do like radiology technician. That's what I wanted to do first, right? And then I eventually, when I went to the Navy and I went to go like see patients, and I was like, I fucking hate this. I was like, let me do supply chain. I ran warehouses. I was a forklift driver. I was heavy equipment. I did all that stuff, and then I did procurement, like all the side
Oh,
system
I know
stuff.
that. I learned that shit.
My entire like 15 years of supply chain experience, that is like legitimately like a very wide scope. Recruiters, when they come and they're like, why don't you want to do management? I was like, because I did management in the Navy and I hated myself for it, dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yo,
So
send
it's
me
like,
your resume. I got you.
no, please. Please no.
I
I
got
don't.
you.
Unless
No,
it-
I don't get anywhere thing by you.
I was
Not
like,
gonna lie.
unless that shit is fully remote, like we were.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of them are. I'm sorry.
But like, I just fell into it, right? And I'm like completely fine with it because like I accepted that I'm okay with it not being like whatever the dream was. I think it was
Yeah.
like being a writer at one point, right?
Shit, I'm still hoping.
Right? And now it's just like I make money, I live comfortably, and I'm good with
You're
that.
content.
I go on
Yeah.
trips and stuff, right? I mean, Jack, what did you want to be growing up, bro? Besides a breakdancer?
Shit. Yeah, fucking-
Little Lumpia.
With his chain swinging left to right on the cordboard, throwing flares.
Shit, I never really aspired to be anything except for when I was like maybe in elementary
Feel that.
school. I wanted to be an astronaut, but that's your typical kid one.
Did everyone have
Um,
that, by the way, when you were a kid? Like they asked you like what you wanted to be, like
Yeah.
So people wrote
Jesus.
wrote. Brad as Jesus would have been scary as shit.
Jesus.
They had us like we actually had to record ourselves like and tell us what we wanted to be. I wanted
the
to be
fuck?
John Elway, but then I realized I'm not fully white, so that dream was dead.
Damn.
Conan the
Alrighty.
Barbarian.
Brad came out with a sword. It's like, can we tell you that you cannot listen, Brad? It's career day. You can't be 18 years old with a broadsword. It's like, why not? Arnold could do it. Why can't I? Brad, what did you initially want to be, man? What was the dream before?
That's a good question.
Let's do some therapy.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
love
really, I
therapy.
really don't know if I really had. I just kind of. So my dad and stepmom were both nurses.
Mm.
My mom was bartender. Or my mom's bartender. So I was just like, I started
Bartender
in the
nurse.
restaurant. I started in the restaurant, and I was like, I kind of had a revelation. So out of high school, I had a full scholarship to go to nursing school. I did a semester and a half, and I actually loved the patient bedside stuff. I really liked the patient interaction. I liked the diagnosing part, or like
So nice.
the actual patient care. I loved that part. It was dealing with other nurses that
Damn.
irritate
Really?
that messed me up in my clinical rotations. So I was in my second rotation. Or I started my second rotation. I was just like, I I am going to lose my job by fighting other nurses. So
Damn,
like
were they
this
that
is
bad to work with? Like,
like you could definitely see like some of them were burnt out and
yeah.
like they
Just
were
taking
going
it
through the
out.
motion. Yeah, they were going through the motions, and
Mm,
it's just like that's like some people deserve better than what you're
yeah.
getting.
Yeah.
And
No, fair enough.
even other students, like I could tell that they just didn't have that patients are patients. They're or like patients are other like are normal people. They're just
Yeah.
they're like
Damn.
Look
like
at that.
like it's
A noble
yeah.
pursuit by Brad, dude. Sometimes I
I-
get
So-
surprised that he's
I'm
actually
kinda
a
learning
nice
some shit right
Yeah.
now.
Brad's
So I
actually a
joined the-
nice person.
So I joined the Navy to be a corpsman, but as a reservist because I wanted to finish my degree. I went as a reservist, and they would only offer me a dental corpsman, and I'm like,
Are
that's
you gonna be a
like,
dental tech?
Yeah.
hard no. Like that's my
Nah.
teeth are terrible as is. So like I can't represent
Other
know,
people.
the dental. Yeah, the
It's like,
dental
how's
thing.
it going?
Anyways,
Like tooth just hanging out. Let me come here.
Let me look in there.
Let's get some
So-
bite. Let's get some bite wings in there. I gotta take some X-rays.
so I went the IT route as a reservist, just to get like civilian, like it was like a civilian knowledge base, right? So as a reservist, I just wanted something that related to civilian world. I didn't want to be like a freaking AO or like I don't want to do ordnance or artillery like that. None of that just didn't seem very relatable. So I went IT and I went through school, and that's when I started nursing school. So I did a a semester and a half of nursing, and then someone offered me a job down here in Pensacola, and they're like, "Yo, you can make like double what you're making right now." And I was like, okay, well, peace out, Dothan. I'm getting out of here. So I just kind of just stuck with it, and I have enjoyed it. I'm not like gung ho, love what you do every day, and you'll never work a day in your life. It's like I work my job as a job. It's not like my passion in life to be the cybersecurity Superman.
Dude,
But I do enjoy what I do. But
I'm
it's
gonna
just like
I'm gonna zoom in on Jack's face because he has made the same face the entire time, and I'm like, just like I wanted to do it like existential crisis on his head. Like it's like, what did I want to be?
He's been thinking about it this whole time.
What did I want to be? He's like, I could have been a break dancer, dude, a backup dancer for some.
I could have been a baseball player, and then I fucked that one up.
Dude, it's
If I was
really...
a man, I would have been a baseball player. Sorry, I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just when I got into
No,
high
I was
school,
really
it
good.
it got too serious. They're like, we're gonna practice every day, and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh shit.
I have a
Right.
friend who was one of the most gifted baseball players I've ever seen. Like seriously, he was when we were coming out of Japan, he was actually scouted for like major schools here. The issue is that he's 5'6" and did not grow.
Damn.
He stayed the
That's
same
where
height.
I'm at.
He was one of the most gifted like baseball players
Yeah.
I've ever seen. And like I was a good basketball player, right? But then like I stayed 6 foot and I was not the position I wanted to play. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I had bad knees anyway, so it didn't matter. But like I like the fact that Brad, the one person I've like every time he's like this huge troll. He's actually like probably the most nice, he's probably the most clean, nice
But-
person here.
Sorry, there was one story in there. So I was actually so I started in the restaurant business when I got out of boot camp. I worked in restaurants, and I basically worked every single job, like dishwasher, cook. I was fry cook. I was grill cook. I bartended. I served and bartended in multiple restaurants. Anyways, I was a bartender, and I happened to have like a moment of like clarity, and I was bartending on like a Thursday afternoon. It was like during the lunch rush, and I'm waiting like 5 tables, and I'm splitting the bar with another bartender, and that bartender was like 55, older lady, red hair, and I was just looking at her, and I was like, I'm not gonna be that person.
Dude, fuck
like,
you.
What
I was
movie?
like-
There's a movie like that, or it's like where they sat there like, I'm gonna waste away.
I was just like, I'm not gonna do that. And like one of my bar regulars, he did some like traveling repair like technician thing, and I was like, sign me up, like just get me out of here. I hated that job. It was a 1099 employee thing, and I traveled like half the United States. I hated it so much, but it was a 6-month period where I got to kind of just do whatever I wanted to do. And then I got my first real job, which transitioned down here. But yeah, I don't know if I really just aspired. So I was kind of late to the game with sports, because I was a very wimpy kid until high school, and I got really heavy into football. And my offensive line coach was like, "You're one of the most um, like high IQ players I have ever seen. Like your movements and like how you anticipate running routes or blocking as a tight end. He's like, you just don't have the size. Like you just need to be about 70 pounds heavier, and you would be amazing."
You're like
And
killing
I'm like,
someone
"Sorry,
straight.
coach, I can't help it."
Like,
I can't date somebody like that.
you got it. You just need to get
He's like-
fat.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
just like,
right.
he's like, you're one of the best. I ended up starting at center my senior year. He's like, you're one of the best pound for pound blockers. The only problem is you don't have a lot of pounds. And I'm just like, I don't.
That's
I
great.
don't know what
Dude.
you want from me.
Yeah.
He's like, you're a little light in the loafers, son. You need
Well, he was
to
like,
put some goddamn weight on.
he's like, if that nose guard puts you through the back uprights, as long as he doesn't make the tackle, I'm happy. I'm like, coach, that doesn't make me happy at all.
I can die out here. Can he play? All right, Chibi, your turn.
Oh
Yeah.
God, you want my trauma story?
I mean, because look, it's like this is the episode where we're talking about this anime that's really
Yeah.
relevant. So I mean,
Oh, you're good. Like I was joking. If I was a man, I definitely would have been a baseball player. Like I told you guys, I played it for like 14 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely would have been a baseball player, but I was petty and I didn't want to do softball, so I gave up in high school. But growing up, I think I had more ambition and understanding when I was like really young. Like I wanted to be either like a veterinarian or a writer, like an author. Like even from like a kid's age, I used to write like kids book when I was like in elementary school. So that was kind of like my dream. And then when I got to like high school and college, I had no idea. I was very listless. I just went for engineering because I didn't know what else to do. And I learned very quickly I was not a STEM girl. I learned very quickly STEM was not for me. So I had to figure out kind of what to do. And I always liked social studies. So I just ended up going with political science. And then when I graduated, I was like, oh, fuck, what do I do part two? And I was like, maybe I'll go to law school. So I did like worked at a law firm for a couple years. And that was one of those things where I put so much effort into it. I didn't get anything in return. And I was like, this is awful. This is ass. And there was so many attorneys I talked to that they were like, don't do it. And they were like, don't, it's not worth it. They were like, it's the work-life balance is not it. I'm so sad all the time.
That's
I was
literally
like,
my boss. Like
okay.
she's an
Yeah.
attorney. I have two
Yeah.
people I work with. One's the contract manager, one's the actual director.
Mhm.
Like the director, she's great because she's, you know, she's like, I was like, why aren't you working at like some high level firm? She did. She worked for an insurance company
Yeah.
and representing them. She was like, it was the most soul sucking job I've
Yeah.
ever done. And plus I had to do billable hours, which is like,
Yeah.
you know, it could be like 12 to 14 hours like a fucking day. And I was like, that sounds atrocious. And then here at like where we work now, she's just happy. Right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
She's
So
busy.
if I ever went back into law, I would do that. I wouldn't go for like big corporate, but and then I was like, maybe I'm good with kids. I've always enjoyed kids, like training and teaching. So I ended up doing the education route. But I don't know. Here I am. I still want to be a writer. So that's like my long life pursuit, which I am actively trying to write a book. So
Yeah.
if you guys want to be my beta readers, let me know.
Let me know. I can.
Yeah,
sure.
Oh yeah, critique me.
I can critique stuff. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
That was like the what. So at any point, because you were when you graduated high school, weren't you like valedictorian?
Yes.
Right. At any point, like when you were younger, did they ever try to skip like have you skip grades and stuff like that?
So you know how you can get like tested for gifted like in elementary school?
Yeah.
My mom was actually very adamant about not having me do that
Really?
because she wanted me to quote unquote just kind of be normal, which was fine. I excelled in all my classes. But
They tested
was
me
one
for
of
the
those
other
things.
stuff.
We know
You
they
know, my
tested
social
you
skills
for,
were a
Brad.
little lacking. But no, they didn't push her on it. But I think if I did, I would have been in the gifted program. I'm ignoring what he's saying.
No. He's like they tested me for other stuff. Like they tried to put a
Oh,
helmet
I
on.
thought he said me.
They were putting the helmet on Brad. Like I don't know, son, if that's going to fit you.
They're like, I don't know what this is. But yeah, she was very adamant about
That was
doing
not my
it.
mom. Like when I was in 6th grade, one of my teachers had found out that I was bored. Like she was like, you are you're excelling through all your courses. And then I took like an aptitude test and a placement test, and they were like, you should be a freshman in high school.
Damn.
And so my dad was cool with it. He was like, hell yeah, that's fucking great. My mom was like, oh no, my mom was cool with it. My dad was like, no. My dad's like, I think he should not do that. And I was like, why not? I was like, he's like, because your brother is a freshman in high school. I was like, oh, right. Mike would be pissed if he saw me in high school. But I remember how excited they were because they were like, I turned in book reports and they were just like, oh my God, like, what did you just read? And I was like, yeah, I read the Odyssey. And they're like, why? Because my dad at home was like, he had a ton of books and like we used to have like encyclopedias. So we had like the Britannica encyclopedia and I would read that. And I would like go deep into like history and stuff like that. So
yeah.
They were like, why don't you want to do all that stuff? And I was like, I don't, I have friends who like would talk to me or like, dude, I don't know why you're not in like some management position or something. And I said, listen, when my problem is like, I have like this urge to like play psychological games with people, which is how I made one of the worst warehouses in the West Coast in Medlog, like first Medlog company. I made a warehouse that was undermanned. One of the most efficient warehouses was because I was using psychological like tests. Because I took like behavioral psychology. So like I was like, this is going to be great. This is experimental work. And I would pair up like good workers and bad workers. And what I would do is because I was cool with everyone and I wasn't like an asshole, I would like go up and praise the good worker, like just casually, like, hey man, you're doing good work. Yeah. And I would just do that and chip away at the other person.
Yeah, until they stepped up.
And the thing is, that
Until
other
they got
person,
fired.
but
Yeah.
that wasn't like they were a bad worker. It was like they were best friend, they were close friends, and they were just like get upset because they're like, "Hey man, I'm right here. You know what's going on?" One of my
Yeah.
guys came up to me and said, "Hey man, it hurts my feelings that you're doing." I was like, "I never said you were a bad worker." And he's like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, you're a good worker." He's like, "Oh, am I? How come you don't say that?" I was like, "Hey man, like there's no bit. That doesn't matter." And I'd walk off, and they're like, "My buddy."
Dude, it's so fun to do
I
that.
walked into my office. We had a little office that was overlooking our storage area, our stowage area, and they were like, my buddy goes up to me, he's like, "You're fucking evil, dude." He's like,
I know what
I'm
you're
like,
doing.
he's like, I know. He's like, like, dude, I've never seen someone do that before. And I'm like, well, Marines want to be praised. They want like
that's
everyone
kids
wants
too, yeah.
everyone wants affirmation and praise, and like I think that I can do both positive and negative reinforcement, and then I can just see how people react. And I was like, this is the perfect place, right? I let you guys can get off early if you receive this much stuff in time. They're like, yay. Or I'll keep you here, and then we'll just, I'll have you paint one of the pillars and shit like that, right? I'll think of an appropriate thing. And so my friend's like, dude, you're fucked up. I was like, I mean, what do you want me to do?
What it is.
You know?
No, low-key, they do that with kids. Like in school, it's literally a positive like affirmations and reinforcement. Like you say it to make the other quote unquote bad kids want to step up and be better, and it's insane.
Yeah.
Like it works.
You call
sometimes.
you call people out without calling people out, right? Like the easiest thing to say is like, hey, I'm gonna pull you outside. But like, let's say I'm pulling out a really hard worker, right? But I'm pulling them outside to praise them, and everyone's like, well, that's fucked up, man. That's favoritism. Like, is it though? Or are you not doing your job?
Are you not pulling your weight?
Jack's like, I don't want to work for Ken. No, you don't. I say,
you know what's in his head.
My boss, she's every day. She's like, she's like, you are so mean to people. I was like, no, I'm not. Have you seen my emails? They're great. They're stellar.
I want you to forward me an email, please.
No, dude, I write like the most detailed shit to like, I'm like, here's step 1. Here's where you went wrong.
Damn.
All right. Here's a
You're
picture.
that bitch I hate.
Here's a picture where you fucked up again.
Damn.
And this is what we're going to do.
Here is evidence. A, B, and C.
I save emails so I can be petty and shit like that.
Oh, blackmail. It's great.
Yeah, all the time, dude.
See, I don't think I've had my ambition was always to work to support myself.
Right.
I think that was my ambition. Because I started working when I was 15.
Money.
And I was doing commissary work.
Yes, dude. Yeah. Were you a bagger or you a stalker?
Yes, I was a bagger.
Yeah, dude. Insane, man.
So ever since I've been working since 15, I've never stopped working since.
That is the Filipino hustle, bro. If you go to Japan to Yokosuka, right, or any of the commissaries in Japan, like it would just be Filipinos.
Yeah.
And like we would like we would do like some evil shit to push out like the white people. Like get the fuck out of here. We bag it here, right? And you always want to bag like the first 2 lanes because it's officers and they pay more, they tip more, right? That's what we used to do.
Well, we had a fast lane. So every 30 work days or something like that, you were able to go through the fast lane where you only bag and you don't take it out to their cars.
Oh, that'd be great.
So people, I made 300 once and then 400 another time.
What'd you spend that money on, Jack? What car?
Oh my god.
I had a Cavalier at the time.
Jack's a car guy, dude. Right?
Fair.
Jack is he's only half Filipino, but he has so many Filipino qualities that I know. Jack, are you frugal with money? Like most of my Filipino cousins?
I used to be.
Is that a Filipino thing?
We're very frugal, like a lot.
Yeah. I have a quick story because I used to, my freshman year, I lived with a whole house of Filipinos. In my life, I've never had somebody request me money to the penny.
Yeah.
Insane. I was like, to the fucking cent. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like she's like, oh, you don't have the 28 cent right now? Just give it to me later. Like I need it tomorrow. And I was like,
that's
like, what?
I used to be. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
I used to be very frugal with money, and then COVID happened, and I was like, man, I need to live my fucking life. So I'm not as frugal as I used to be.
I just went through a bad breakup,
bunch of swords.
Yeah. Brad's talking about himself. Brad's like, check out this sword.
I don't have any swords.
I read somewhere, I remember seeing this picture. It's like success is defined differently per person, right? So one person may want money, other people may want simplicity. And that's kind of like when I was watching Uramichi-san, I was like, that's kind of some people, maybe they don't want, like they may not be satisfied with their lot in life, but you are comfortable, right? You do have a job, right? And I always hate like when you always have to look on like that should never that's probably the problem with fucking capitalism. It's like you should never look at something like, at least I have a job, at least I'm working. It's like I don't know if that's like the end game, bro.
That be like the baseline here of
What
happiness?
was that
like,
one meme? It's like you were put on this earth to pay taxes and die. I was like, holy shit.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was a twist because it was supposed to be like, hey, you were not put on this earth to pay taxes and die. And someone was like, no. You were put on this earth to pay taxes and die. It's like, damn, bro, that's fucking harsh. But I mean,
It's real.
yeah, no, it's 100% real. That's why, like, when I was watching this, that's all I kept thinking about the whole time. It's like, oh, that's funny, but also sad.
It's so
like,
relatable.
At what point did I reach that, right? And it was actually 31 when I was with the government, and I was like starting to
I feel
realize
like I'm there now.
Well, I mean, like I think we all get there eventually,
Yeah.
right? Like Brad said, you're never gonna. What's it, Brad? You like if you love your work, like it's like you never working a day in your life. I'm like, that person's full of shit, probably.
Oh, for sure. That's only if you got hella money.
That person's a millionaire or a billionaire, bro. Like,
Yeah.
that person doesn't know what groceries are.
No.
They don't know what rent is. Like, fuck that
I
person.
don't know what rent is.
It's crazy the amount of like cybersecurity, like the amount of like PhD having cybersecurity experts that I work with that like don't have a smartphone or like live in the
Yeah.
backwoods, and they're like, I don't like the internet. Like they're like, I wish all computers would burn. And it's
They're
like,
too
why are
paranoid.
you here?
Yeah,
Like,
why
are you
is this
here?
your career?
Dude.
Well, you picked the
It's
wrong
like,
career, guy.
it pays the bills very well. And I'm like, okay,
That's
I
what I'm
guess
saying.
fair.
Like, you pay.
That's funny, though.
You pay the bills, right? Like, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, are you in it for love? Or are you in it for earning potential? And that's how I followed up my wife. It's like, honey, like you're a nurse, an RN in California. I know she makes like really, really great money. And I was like, I made a joke in front of her friends. They were like, because she was like, Ken, well, you do supply chain stuff. I'm like, right. She's like, are you with Melissa for love or for money? I'm like, well, I mean, a little bit of both, right? Little column A, little column B, right? She makes enough, so I don't have to do shit. That's why I'm trying to find like a nurse for Jack or something like that. Just get the Filipino. Dude, that's how my mom was, man. Like, I swear to God, like after my first marriage went south, like bad. My mom's.
Oh, I didn't know you were married before.
Yeah, I was married before.
Okay.
The Filipino response, and Jack knows this,
Back.
is not to sit on and dwell on that relationship. The
No, you
Filipino
go get a new
response
one.
is, I can find a girl for you to marry right now.
Oh,
I
my
got
mom
your
hit me up
ass.
once and is like, "Yeah, this girl I work with is single. You should date her." I'm like, "Mom, you're in fucking Alabama. How am I
You're like,
gonna date
how
her?"
are we gonna do this?
My
That's
mom,
funny.
like the day I
Love
got
finds a
divorced,
way.
and I remember the day I got divorced, right? The day it was official and shit like that, and I was like hanging out with my dad, and my dad he's much softer now than he used to be when he was in the Navy.
Mhm.
My dad was like hardcore, like, he's killed people before type shit. My dad's like, hey, let's talk about it, let's have a beer, stuff like that, right?
Oh, mhm.
My mom goes, hey, so I know this girl, and he sent me a picture. It's that one right there. And
Oh
I
my
was
God.
like, Mom, it's like, she's a nurse. I'm like, well, it's okay to give me her number.
That's so funny. I love your mom. That's
Dude,
crazy.
that's how she is, dude. Like my mom, like Filipino moms,
That's
like
Filipino.
you
yeah.
are not the problem. That's what you need to know if you're
I love
watching
that.
this. If you're Filipino,
you
are not
the problem.
You can be
No.
a toxic piece of shit, right? You could be recovering.
the problem.
You're not the problem. You know what the problem is? Everyone else who hurt my baby. That's
No.
Yeah, that's
That's-
my mom right there.
That's my mom straight
That's so
up.
funny.
She's like, you're only gonna have
Wow.
one mom. That type of shit. You know?
Oh,
Yeah, but
No, I was the problem.
yeah, no. Brad's
I'm
the
definitely
problem
problem.
now.
Yeah, Brad's the problem child.
Hey, this is year number 10 in my marriage, so
Oh, you married 10 years now?
in October. yeah.
Nice.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think me and my wife
Nice.
have been together
That's
for
cool.
10 years now.
Nice.
Yeah. All that.
Me and
all that.
Colby are 7.
7 years? Oh, that's why. Kobe, come to 45 minutes. You need to fucking pop that question, brother. We are in shit or get off the pot
It's
territory.
okay.
Chibi, I forgot that we've known each other for almost 3 years now.
Dude, isn't that crazy?
When you first told me, I was like, oh yeah, they've been together for like, oh yeah, they've been together for like 3 years. Then my head's like, no, that's wrong, Ken. They've been together for longer than that.
Yeah. You know
It's
how long
okay.
how long I've known you is my sub to you.
Yeah,
It
no,
tells me how
literally.
long I've known you.
Literally, it's like the sub count. I'm just like, holy shit.
Our
bro.
friendship only matters in transactions.
No, it just keeps it running for us.
It's like,
It keeps the date.
it's like how many gifted subs do you have to me today? God, that's like that should have been an episode like Life Lessons if this was made like with streamer culture in mind.
Oh yeah.
It's like these are my
Yeah.
friends now. It's like it's
Wait,
not the dolls or
speaking-
whatever. It's the
The
fucking
dolls.
chat. It's your chat. It's like don't let me chat.
I was gonna ask Jack because we're talking about like careers and goals. Jack, for you, like, did you ever think that you would be like a big content creator, or like this would be like very encompassing in your life, or is it something that it just kind of happened? Sorry, I thought
No,
about that too.
because my family, well, my mom wouldn't give a fuck. She's happy as long as I'm happy. But my dad is
That's-
more like, you can't survive on
That is
content
brother,
creation.
that's Filipinos, dude. I'm telling you. Like they do not. There's three things they want you to be, right? They want you to either be a nurse, an engineer, or anything that makes you money. They do not care about your own personal happiness. They just want you to be
Nice.
money. That's it. That's it.
That's me. That's
Oh,
me personally.
you're sad about that. I don't give a fuck. Like you want to be a dancer.
Go
Yeah.
make money.
Wait, you're gonna be a singer? Are we in like every Filipino can sing? You're not special.
Yeah. We
Can
all
you
do
sing?
karaoke.
We all do
you
karaoke. Yeah, like get the fuck out of here. Are you making money off it? Then why? Bucket, why? Like why would you do
Yeah.
that to yourself? Go.
Oh, when I was telling my mom I was thinking about moving, she's like, you have a good job.
Yes, dude. That's
I was like, I can find another one. She said, no,
no, you
you
can't.
have good
No.
benefits,
Like
good
that.
job.
No.
No, that's
I'm just very no.
it's like you can't have a conversation with them. Like my dad, I remember when I left the federal government, my dad was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, I have like a ton of experience and I have certificates and stuff. I'm good." He's like, "Okay, that's fine." My mom was like, "Why? Why are you doing this?" I was like, "Mom, I want to make more money and I want to be less stressed." You know what I mean? I don't want to wear 4 hats and like not get
Yeah.
paid enough. So yeah.
I don't think my dad believed me when I moved down here.
Damn,
like, my,
dude.
s- like my salary doubled from what I was making back in Alabama, and my dad's just like, "You're lucky." I was like, "What?"
Has anyone noticed that like if you talk to your parents about it, and man, imagine if they talked about this in the show too, like whether or not your parents actually believe in you too, or are they just jealous? Like conversations with my dad sometimes do go like that, Brad, where I'm like, are you unhappy that I'm making more money? Like what the fuck? like I'm sorry that that happened to you, bro. Like I don't understand like why you're so kind of upset that I'm.
Now my mom's kind of the opposite. My mom, it's the best way to put this.
She's looking for you to buy some scratch offs, dude.
Oh, I love scratch
She
offs.
She's waiting for you to play bingo.
I need you to
she
head
lives
down
a very
store.
simplistic life.
I need you to head down the store, get me some scratch offs 20.
She doesn't live a
there's
very
nothing wrong
sophisticated.
with scratchies.
She doesn't live a very sophisticated life. She works and lives with my sister, so it's just like anytime I talk to her, she's just like, good for you, yeah,
Aw,
you do you, and I'm like, okay.
aw, so wholesome.
Brad wants more confirmation. He's like, why don't you love me, Mom? He goes
Well,
out
so,
and just rages.
So
Told me she loves me yet.
well, it's super weird because my mom always favored me growing up. I have 2 older siblings, and like she would introduce me as her good child, and it's like
Shit.
such a weird like complex to have.
That is a Southern thing because my dad would do the same shit sometimes. Like, this is my son who doesn't act out. I'm the middle child, dude. So like I had to like work my ass off, dude. Could you imagine? Like, here's the thing, right? My brother in high school was a football player, played safety. Like, I went to high school in Naosi Kinnick in Japan, right? The theater there is named after Mark Hamill because that's where Mark Hamill went to school. And he set every major acting award. My brother, like, surpassed that.
Oh shit.
So he would go to like these like huge tournaments and stuff like that, and they would have like writing and all that stuff. And Mike would come back with every fucking gold medal, right? And I'm the middle child being like, man, fuck that dude, bro. And they're like, hey, everyone would be like, hey, Mike's little brother. I'm like, hey, I got a name. I'm not that short. I'm not that short. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with this?
Hey, little.
And then my sister, right? She's the baby. So like my parents fucking, they'll do whatever for her. They will drive across state lines.
Well, she's the girl too.
Oh yeah, but my sister's she's a fucking Marine, dude. She's tough as shit.
Fair
But,
enough.
Like when I met when me and my sister saw each other, dude, the first thing she did was she hugged me. She almost cracked my rib because she hugged me so hard, and I was like, Samantha, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Like abuse.
But like my siblings will like rely on me for like support because I'm kind of the most logical about stuff.
Mm.
But my mom doesn't care. You know, Filipinos are like, I love everyone equally. I'm like, that's a fucking lie, and you know it, dude. Like, that's a lie. You love the oldest the most. Like, you're gonna baby that person the entire time. It's just one of those things, dude. So I had to work my ass off growing up to like separate myself. My dad got really mad when I joined the Navy. He was not happy with it. He was like, go to college, like get a job, don't join. And I was like, no. And he's like, you don't want to be a corpsman. Why? Because he was a corpsman. And I remember I deployed with my uncle, and my uncle was like, your dad's really mad at you, by the way.
Yeah, you're like,
He's like, why isn't he a corpsman? And he's like, well, Ken's always done his own thing. I was like, this is true, right? Like I've never like ever done anything my dad expected. My mom, like, once again, my mom doesn't care as long as I make money, whatever. And then I ended up with a Filipino girl anyway. So she's happy on both ends, right? That was the craziest shit. Like I was like, because I dated, like, I didn't care who I dated because that was how my dad was, right? Like, I'm like, cool. But my mom was like, why not a Filipino girl? Why not a Filipino girl? Like, I want to speak Tagalog. Yeah. And it's like, okay, whatever, dude. And then I met my wife, who's this like whitewashed Filipino girl. So, you know, who just happens to be a fucking nurse. So, I mean, something lucked out for me, right? So my jadedness isn't as bad as it used to be, because I used to be like hardcore shit. Like, shit will never work out, brother. Like, I would be like the guy like next to Jack at work, like, you know, there's no gold behind our currency, right? And like lean back in my chair.
Damn. You know everything's fake. Right?
You know everything. You know it's all a lie, right? The UFOs are coming to get us, bro.
I mean, I'm still like that. I'm ready.
I'm looking at Brad like, Brad, I don't have a cell phone for a reason, brother. I can't let them watch me.
Dude, I had a friend like that, or her boyfriend was like that. He would not have a cell phone because he was so paranoid. I was like, this shit's crazy. Like, I've never actually met someone like that.
Yeah. You'd be shocked, dude. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of weird, like if you live in like certain places, like when I joined the Navy, I don't know if anyone else felt this way, like Brad, because you went to boot camp. Were there were you surprised that you met certain people that had never left like their hometowns and shit, like growing up? Because that was
I've met people like that. It is weird.
That was crazy. And like I'm like, but there's the internet and there's TV. Like he's like, dude, that's all I know people from. I was like, I didn't know what a Filipino was. And
Dude, it blew my mind. People didn't know how to drive. Like, people didn't have driver's license. And I'm like, you couldn't get anywhere unless you drove 20 minutes. Like you're just walking places, or like, I mean, I've never experienced like a tram or like a subway. Like, that's not a thing that I've ever experienced.
Brad is power stancing in front of the subway. What is this? Where do I stand? What the fuck? What's going on here? Are you fighting me? Am I fighting you? It's like, Brad, that's a train.
Like the first time I ever used public transit was when I was in A school here in Pensacola. I was like, oh, so you just get on the bus and you just wait until you get off where you want to get to.
I love that, dude. That's great. It's the weirdest thing, like growing up, like having traveled so much, because I lived in Texas. I live in Santa Fe, Texas, which is like a county in Houston. It's the county of Houston. And we had like, I think 2,000 people, but like when they say county, it's like so spread out at the time. Like no one lived near each other. Like I think my next door neighbor, I had 2 next door neighbors, and then like a mile down the road was someone I knew. So I'd ride a bike to go there or some shit. But I lived with poor white people. That's where I went to school. And so like I would show up and they're like, what the hell's a Filipino? Are you lying to me? You Mexican? Don't play with me now. Don't you joke with me now, man. She says she's Indian. I swear she's not. She's Mexican, brother. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Then I moved to then I went back to California, and like, you know, I was like, okay, I'm used to this like diversity. And then I'd go to Connecticut, to like the whitest part of Connecticut. And I'm like, what the where I got stared at. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, well, you're half. And then I get to Japan, it's like all Filipinos. The whole base. Like, and I found out that like some people were born in Japan, and what their parents would do is that they would take orders operationally to a ship, and then they'd go back onto the base. So they would never leave Japan the entire time. I was like, how's that possible? All we've done is travel, like my whole life. And so nice. I was always shocked when I met people who like had never like gone anywhere, you know? But my dad, being like the fucking dude he's like this southern guy from Kentucky. He's like, stop doing that. Stop being so goddamn surprised about what people are and what are not. I'm like, all right, Dad, chill, all right. But yeah, I just felt like, you know, growing up, like literally watching this show, like brought a lot back to me from like my 20s and 30s.
Literal life lessons.
Yeah, dude, like the whole time, that's all I kept thinking about.
Onisan.
I was like, dude, I remember hating my bosses. Like the bosses would ask me, because I was a good worker, I was dependable. Hey, Ken, can you do this for me? And I'm like, yeah, I don't see why. I mean, I got nothing else to do. I guess at the time I was like, sure. And it just kept like building and building until it finally popped. Like, I don't know if like, but I mean, the culture, there's a huge culture difference between the Japanese and Americans where, in Japan, like you're pretty much stuck at a company till you die, which is, depending on who
So
you
it
are.
better be Nintendo.
It better be Nintendo. Nintendo would work. Brad leaves Nintendo. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. I can't do this shit. It's a good show. I'm glad we all talked, right? We actually had like a conversation, right? We found out some things about Chibi that she's upset about. Kobe, watch it 45 minutes.
Bruh, I was upset. I just can relate.
I'm just going to keep cycling back to this until Kobe watches.
This is the therapy hour.
I can relate. I didn't say I was mad.
Well,
I am existing at this point in my life. I'm breathing. That's all I can ask for.
Listen, I remember my
crazy.
That was the time I got the Navy. Yeah, my mid-20s. That's when I got the Navy.
That's actually how I answer most people. How you doing? I'm like, well, I'm existing.
No, I literally say I'm alive. Like I do it, and I'm just like, damn. I wonder if they're like they think that's such a weird answer because it's. I'm just like I'm alive.
I've met people who are like their personality is that of a Labrador, where they are just cheerful and happy and shit like that. And I've met people who are pit bulls, gremlins, people who don't want to be talked to. Like you just, you deal with it. But I remember my last like 3 months in the Navy, I went to a like massive leadership thing. So we had like everyone there with our master chief. And for some fucking reason, as I was trying to leave, this dude stopped me. And he stopped me next to like two of my buddies. We were both like leading petty officers. And he shakes my hand. He said, I've heard about the morale here at Balboa. He's like, Petty Officer Doherty, like, what do you think the best thing about this place is? I'm like, well, the day ends, Master Chief. And this dude stopped, his eyes got really wide, and my chief had to usher me out. He's like, why would you say that? I was like, I wasn't lying. The day fucking ends and I am happy, bro.
You're like, it's the truth.
Do you think I like babysitting adults? Do you think I like showing up and having people like tell me they couldn't wake up on time? Or had a guy like literally he went missing for 4 hours because he fucking had an epileptic seizure in his car. He had to pull over. We had to search the highway for him. But he was a guy that I had told, dude, because of your medical condition, I don't think you're supposed to be driving. But he did it anyway. And I was like,
that's nice. That's not on. I'd been like, we talked about this.
I had a fucking dude who showed up his first
That's determination.
Day. He showed up on a Friday at 3 p.m., which if you're in the military, always show up to your command at the end of the day, at the end of the week, right? You want to have a good weekend, just saying. But he showed up and I said, hey, brother, I'm going on leave. I'll see you, right? I'll see you next week. I'll see you when I come back after the week, all right? Just show up and stuff. He got a DUI that day. He was arrested over the weekend. I had gotten called on Monday and they said, hey, you have to come off leave and look for this guy. Like, it killed my soul, dude. And then when I went to the federal government, and I don't know if Jack, if you work with military, but I know, I work with military civilian, but it was one of those things where I was like, I was babysitting them too, because I was like considered a lead. And I was like, I fucking hate this. I just want to work a job where I don't have, I answer to my boss and then I just leave.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. And that's like where I'm at, right? Mentally. Like, am I here? I guess. I mean, I still stress about shit. The hair doesn't lie, right? It's great for a fucking reason. You know what I mean?
It is one thing that I do like about my job because it is in a classified space. It's like I can't bring out, like, if I wanted to, technically I can work from home, but it's like I can't take it home if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's like
nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that separation.
Mm-hmm.
But not being I think my biggest beef is like not seeing people be able to separate personal and professional life. Like they constantly blend the two, and it just causes so much problems, dude. And I'm like, dude, I don't need to know that you're sleeping with that person in the break room, man. That happened a lot.
That's restaurant life.
That's restaurant life. Dude, that's Navy life.
Is.
That's Navy life. I had like, I think the best sailor like ever. She was getting promoted, and then I found out that she was sleeping with one of our civilian warehouse contractors, and I fucking lost it, dude. Because in the Marines, you cannot defend people when they get in trouble. Like even if they're a good person, they're just like, dude, they're getting in trouble and you're losing like a quota here. I was like, fuck, man, right? And it's just like you become jaded along like long periods of time. and then you end up like Jack, right? You got your merchandise on. He's got his jersey, his hat, his cats, right?
That's the viral one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please buy, right? And he also had an existential crisis during the episode about what he wanted to be.
Just the far off look.
He's like, fuck. It's like, what did my mom want me to be? That was the question. What did mom want me to be?
I am Uramichi.
I am here.
I think we all are.
You have the dead eye,
Yeah.
dude. If you can, hey, if you're in your
Just-
30s, the dead eye thing works. You know what I'm saying? You
No,
just-
I'm the rabbit.
Are you the rat?
I'm the
Bro, dude, Usahara is my favorite character. I'm not gonna lie. Usahara
I will say
fucking funny.
one of my favorite parts of the entire show was when the bear was sick and it was just a rabbit and he tried to wear the bear suit and the children were like, that's not the bear.
That's not him.
And he was like freaking out. He was just like,
He's
how,
like, they
how do they know?
know.
They know.
Kids are
and then
sharp,
he put
man.
the head on and he had the body still. They switched it and they were like, ah, you killed him. And he's like,
Dude, it's
this shit was so funny.
that shit, man. Oh my god, it's a really good show, Brad. Thank you for watching. Thank you for suggesting it.
You're welcome.
No, that
I
was good.
I really
Yeah.
want to
What
think
do you
about. I really want to think about my life and my past and stuff like that. How did I get here? All right. So, who's next? GB, is it you?
Me.
No, you didn't. You get a thumbs
I
up.
have to cook. I have to look
Yeah.
and see what I want to make you guys suffer through.
Okay.
Give me a genre. Like, what are we feeling?
Well, I mean, as long as it's not action,
Abstract.
because I want to watch Samurai Champloo for mine.
All right, I'll take a peek and see what I can.
You say
conjure up.
abstract, dude? Welcome
He
to
said abstract.
Welcome to HHK. I think that's what it's called. That's an abstract anime. Fooly Cooley. There's like a couple more I can think of. But I'm glad we found like an actual mature anime with like relatable characters. I was like, you know what, dude? It's a one note, but it's like something that I could fucking completely agree with.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's one of those where it's like if you're mid-20s and under, it's not going to be as appealing.
Or
Like,
it might depress you because
It
you're
might
like,
terrify
Is
you.
this what I have to
Yeah.
look forward to?
You haven't been broken enough
True.
to
Yeah.
appreciate.
Beatings will continue until morale improves. Good to go. Sir, why am I so sad? What do you mean? We're all sad. You need to get to my level first, and then we'll go from there. Stand by.
The fact you're asking that question means you're not sad enough.
I know. Means you're not sad enough. What are you doing?
You haven't accepted your fate yet.
So for the next Pixelated Thoughts episode, Jack, we're doing the adaptations that are fan made, right?
Oh yeah, fan made.
How many are we watching? 2, 3? Or do you just want to have a general
Dragon Ball
discussion
Z.
on some of them? No, please, dude. That's not a fan made
Evolution.
one. It's like a fan made show. It's like a fan made movie. It's fucking bad.
There's Legacy, and then the
Wait.
Halo one.
Yeah, there's
don't-
Halo. There's some Street
Winnie the
Fighter.
Pooh?
There's Mortal Kombat Legacy. There's Street Fighter Legacy, I think, and then there's we went to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Isn't there
One
a
and
Power
two.
Rangers one?
Yeah. Oh, dude. The guy who made Castlevania, Adi Shankar, he made a bunch of parodies, and he made a Power Rangers one that was absolutely. It's a rated R Power Rangers.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Tremendous, dude. I love that. But yeah, we'll do video game adaptations, and then Chiba will come
Nice.
up with her genre, and then we might see some videos with us playing Monster Hunter Wilds because I gifted Jack the game finally. I don't know if Brad.
You didn't gift it to me. Oh, man.
No, dude, I'm gifting it to Jack because I said I would, and I'm
I
a
mean, that's
man of
fair.
my
Let me
word.
know how it is.
Yeah,
It comes out on Friday, right?
yeah.
Bro, Colby's taking off work.
I mean,
I've gotta-
I've
gotta pressure
why do
Brandon
you
into-
why do you have to? Like, I was gonna say something like, Chibi, you can just shut his computer down until he, remove. Is he
I'm not petty.
is he getting it on PC?
Yeah.
Like,
Just slightly dislodge one of the RAM sticks.
here's what you do, right? You tell him like, hey, Ken, Jack, and Brad want to play with you,
Bro,
And I will-
I'm not.
Don't lie to
and
him.
I will change my name to why aren't you like pop the question? And he's like, what question? Like,
We'll
Which one to talk about?
combine
Oh my
all of our
God.
names to make a sentence.
Oh my god, that'd be crazy.
Name the palicos. Like, why is your palico name Pop? Oh, it's all lined up a certain way. It's like, what's going on?
Question the pop.
We'll talk. Subliminal messaging was wrong. We fucked up, boys. We messed that up.
Oh
It's
my
like, oh god.
He just starts buying Dum Dum Pops
Hey,
everywhere. It's like,
this is great. I love playing with you guys. Like, for some reason, I just really wanted lollipops. I'm like, I fucking hate this guy. Like, I don't know what Chibi sees in this game.
I get the feeling they all want to marry me for some reason. It's really weird.
Kristen, your friends are weird.
Brad Traps signed to Tampa slaps him. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean by that?
Brad
dude?
said, "I'm in town.
He's like,
I'm pulling up."
He's like, I'll be here in a second. Just one second. I just want to talk to
I
him.
got some beef.
I just want to talk to him for a second. Don't worry about that.
Oh my
All right.
God.
Okay, yeah. We did play Chibi. We played the Headliners.
I know. I'm sorry I missed that. How was it?
Hilarious.
It's pretty fun.
It was pretty great.
It was a good
yeah.
time.
Mhm. I
It's
saw some of the video.
It is. It has like some slow parts to it. Like you do have
Mhm.
to like. I think they're adding more content. I think they said the end of this
Yeah.
month or soon.
Yeah.
So it's basically Lethal Company. I feel like it's just a bit faster paced. Right?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
Lethal Company.
You have
for
10
me,
minutes.
Just
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's like a set time. Oh.
And we got screwed over when we found out that you cannot take repeat pictures.
Yeah, we didn't know that till the very end.
Yeah, dude, I was like, we had it, man. We had 7K, and I was like, oh, dude, we have like a bunch of 1,000 pictures, and it's like, oh no, you guys took the same genre. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like dancing in this one.
I feel like I feel like although
It's
it
a comedy.
dedupes, I feel like although it dedupes, it should at least pick the highest of the dedupes.
Yeah, and it
of the
did.
dupes.
I think it was picking like a
Yeah.
bunch of low 300 to one. I was like, no, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, we got screwed on that one, but it was
Oh, that sucks.
it's a good time. It's fun. It's better than that one
Okay,
game. What's that
okay.
one game you didn't like?
Oh man,
Lockdown
fuck
Protocol.
that game. I
Jack
think that
wanted-
was it.
Jack wanted us to play it.
Oh,
Dude, I hated that game. I tried it once and I was like, what is this? Like, I don't know. I just did not
So
have
are
a good
you
time.
are you just like duping people in that game? Like someone explain the premise to me. Is that what the
I don't understand.
It's
It's like Among Us, but
First
It's
person.
dumb.
Oh.
Yo, we gotta play Goose Goose Duck. That shit's funny.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's like Among Us, but you're geese and a duck.
Okay.
Oh my!
It's
and the
good. I
duck
like
tries
it.
to murder the geese. That was violent.
Yes, or the other way around. I can't remember. It's good though.
Let's play on that children's game.
Duck, duck, goose.
Geese, geese, duck.
Geese
Geese,
duck.
geese, duck.
Back where I'm from. Maybe that's
Right
why they
where
were
I'm from.
maybe that's why they were testing me for other things. Guess I'm dyslexic.
Hey, I was actually in the gifted program,
Yeah.
and I even hated that because I was just bored while doing more complex things.
Yes, it's not fun.
So in elementary school, me and a guy from my grade who's actually one of my best friends at the time, we were the only two people in in Alabama. We have the Alabama math and reading
Mhm.
tests, and it's like a test that every grade has to take every year. And me and him were the only ones that scored in the 99 percentile, or like we scored above 99% in both of the tests. We got in the paper, we had to like hold up our little certificates. I got selected to go to like this math and science school in Mobile. I just couldn't afford it. It was just like way more than what my mom was able to pay. But
Like, let me tell you something. You may be one of them poor whites, but you're a poor smart white, so you get over it.
There's a difference there.
You bring your
I
ass home.
passed all my graduation exams in ninth grade. I mean, so I transferred high schools. So when I graduated, I was only number 11th out of whatever. But
It's okay. It doesn't mean
Man,
shit.
y'all
Look where
had
I
good
am.
school stories. I don't.
I
I had to
did.
wear headgear. I took speech classes.
I took
Oh.
I took a speech
Oh.
class.
I did have to take speech lessons
Yeah,
when I
took a-
was
took a
very
speech
young.
class.
Oh, I did not.
Like my
Not
whole thing
really.
was like I was what did my sophomore teacher say to me? Oh, I was bored. She didn't like that, and I was like, "What do you mean?" Because I would like barely pass certain classes my sophomore year because I was too busy doing other stuff, like the legal things in Japan. But it was like I wrote like I barely passed one of my honors English class, but I wrote this fucking essay on like it was on the Iliad, and she was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Yup, give me the score so I can leave." She's
You're
like,
like,
"Fine."
I'm good.
But then I got like I don't know what it is. My senior year, like I actually cared, even though my senior year I only took like 3 classes. I think it was like AP Government, AP Literature. That's all I wanted to take. Yeah. Well, it's
My last
it was required for senior in
my
California.
my last English class that I had to take, it was the only honors English that it was. So I didn't take the English honors class in my last 3 years because when I transferred school, it like screwed up where they placed me. So I was in honors everything but English, and I was totally fine with that because I hated it. It was the only
It's less work, dude. It's less work.
I hated it so much. But anyways, my 12th grade English class, we like basically our final grade was you have to write like a story. You had to write like a 4-page story. It was about Pop Tarts versus toaster strudels.
Bruh.
Did
And
you?
it was
Who won?
epic. It was basically Hamlet but with
I
actual ham.
I regretted going to AP Lit, like taking that class, only because like I get like too invested in books when I was writing about them. So I'd go like here's the list of
never
books
wrote
they made us do like a non-fictional book, right? So I did a book
Yeah.
by Irish Chang, and I'm not going to mention the name, but it's about the Nanking massacre and stuff like that in China.
Mm,
And so I was like, I was so surprised like recently because like I think TikTok had did a trend like a year ago where like everyone was finding out about this. I'm like, bro, I knew about that shit in 2001. But when I wrote my paper, like we were gonna present it. That was the whole thing in AP Lit was like you had to write and then present. So I did 25 pages. My teacher handed it back to me and said, "You don't have to present." This was this was the most tragic thing I've ever read about.
Oh my god.
And I was like, "I'm sorry." She's like, "It's okay." She like walked up. When we had to submit an essay for us for like AP Lit to get our points or whatever. She didn't take that one. She took like my fictional one that I did on like I think it was like King Arthur and shit like that.
She said, "Thank you for trying."
She took the happier one. I was like one of her best students, bro. But she was like, "You wrote the saddest fucking like I didn't know about this. This broke my heart. I'm sorry." And I was like, I was like, but I got an A.
You're like,
my dad would be like, "Good job." That was how my dad used to do like reports and stuff for me. Like, and I get my smarts from my dad. Like that dude, man. I'm not great at math, right? But he is like he could do calculus in his head. That's annoying. Like he'd be like, "How come you don't know this?" Here's the answer. I'm like, "Show your work." He's like, "No." He's like, "You show your work."
I don't need to.
He'd be like, "You show your work." He just walk over. I'm like, "Oh man." I was the Asian kid you didn't want to cheat off in math because I would half-ass it so much. Like, how did you get it? I was like, "Nah, bro."
No,
my dad's the same way.
My dad's the same way. I'm like, this right here hurts, and he's like, he'll pull up a sheet and he'll start like draft like he's like, okay, so this is the intercostal space between these ribs, and you see this little thing right here. This is a nerve, and this nerve has been pinched, and he's like, and I'm like, I think I just bruised. I bumped into a door frame. I don't.
Dude, when
calm down.
I had like pain in my chest, and I like thought I was like dying. And my dad was like, "Nah, you probably just tore the cartilage between your chest wall." And I was like, he's like, "But go to the ER anyway." And when I spent 6 hours in the ER, and they were like, "Yeah, you just tore the cartilage in your chest wall." I was like, "You were right." He's like, "I fucking told you." I'm like,
I would have died.
He's like, "Do not waste my fucking time." I was like, "Thanks, Dad."
I told you.
Oh goodness. All right.
My mom. I think my mom can write in cursive.
Can you not?
No, I'm saying like that's kind of the extent.
That's extent.
Oh, I was like,
my mom is street smart.
Yeah.
I was gonna say both of my parents are actually both street smart. Neither went to college. My mom didn't even get her GED. So
like I don't.
And I'm an only child, so it was like all of the hopes and dreams were on me.
It's on you. It's like my wife has a master's in nursing, right? But she hates talking to me because she's like, I only have a bachelor's, and like she's like, I've gone to like 2 different grad schools. I went to like USC for project management and then Michigan State for supply chain, right? But like she hates talking to me. She's like, "Oh my god." I was like, "Oh, you have." She had like I found out recently she had like Dante's Inferno. I was like, "Oh, you have Dante's Inferno." Like I broke out the thesis for. She's like, "Stop." I was like, "Nope. Let's talk about let's talk about the metaphors and illusions here." She's like, "I don't."
I would hate you too. I'd be like, "Shut the fuck up."
She's like, "Oh my god." I was like, "Oh, you only read a 300-page book and it took you like a couple weeks. That shit takes me 2 days." I'm like,
I was gonna say, nah. When I read a book, that's like a day or 2.
I'm like a speed reader, dude. That was my.
No, I am too.
That was my doctor.
Yeah.
She was like, "Do you want to read some books, Ken?" I was like, "Is it all that vampire?" She's like, she's brilliant. I was like, is it all the vampire like smut you read? She's like, yeah. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I don't want to
What's
read
wrong with that?
Twilight Lady.
Man, fuck you. It's good. Bro, Twilight ain't even smut. Take that back.
She
Right.
made everyone read Twilight except for me. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm an intellectual.
Dude, it was great. I mean, now it's awful, but like it was peak. It was peak back in the day.
My wife thinks she read like 93 books last year.
Damn, let's
And
go.
I was like, I read 2.
I was gonna say I don't read as
And
much
one
as
was
I
and
do.
one was a
but-
textbook.
I read a game manual.
I read the
Bro.
instructions to
I
build
wrote
Legos.
I read the Codex in Mass Effect.
I read a manga. Does that count?
I've read over 100 manga
Do
in a
it.
year.
Do it. Got
Yeah.
pictures, bro. Jack's,
Right.
Do it got color?
I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry, Jack's like, how dare you?
I read my name on a postage.
This has been life lessons with like the pixelated.
Yeah, literally with the pixelated thoughts crew.
I love that. All right. Anyway.
Mm.
So dude, I'm sorry. Check Checkers like our stories. He's like, I feel not smart. No wonder I wanted to be a breakdancer. Jack had street dreams. All right, he was out there hustling.
Yeah,
I did. So one time I did tell my dad that I was thinking about being a lawyer. I definitely don't have the
Patience.
vocal the vocal
You're not able to articulate.
finesse, yeah, like
Yeah.
the finesse to argue like that. But I was like, hey dad, like being a lawyer might be really interesting. And he was driving his truck and like he looked at me and he was like, what did you just say? I was like, a lawyer. He's like, oh, I thought you said a warrior. He's like, you've been playing way too many video games. I was like, no.
I'd
How
rather you be a warrior.
like I get that. Listen, I get my dream shot down at work. I don't need you fucking doing it, old man.
He said, what did you say?
He's like, I've grown up. We can throw hands now.
Yeah. No, I was like 10 when that happened. That was
Oh,
funny though.
No, that's good.
So, Dad, I think I'd like
A
to be.
warrior?
He's like, I'd like to be a lawyer. A lawyer. It's like, what do you mean? Get out there in the farm. Why don't you go litigate what we're doing out there, right there in them
So-
fields? All
You
right.
go litigate that.
My dad was very much for education. He was like, be paid to know what to do, not to do the thing. He's
That's the
like,
life lesson.
paid-
Say that one
Yeah.
more time, but say it loud. I want people to hear that.
get paid to know
Hearing
what
you.
to do versus doing the thing that
Yes.
you know what to do.
Jesus.
And I was like, I just kind of kept that throughout life. It's just like I want to get paid to not do things. I want to get paid to know to do things.
The ultimate goal right now is to be a consultant. Let me just tell you about how this job is supposed to be, that type of stuff. It's great. Do you
'Cause
actually
I used to shadow him when he's a nurse, right? So I'd go and he we would do his whole shift and we'd be leaving and he's like I made $450 tonight. He's like, do you think I worked $450 worth of work? I was like you sat in the computer chair and just walked in the patient's room every hour.
Your dad is my hero. He's like the opposite of Chris's dad, dude. Chris's dad is brutal to Chris, dude. It's harsh, man. Oh god. All right. So does anyone else have any stories they want to pass on just before we go? Jack, you got anything for me?
No,
I'm gonna try to zoom in Jack's face when Brad is having that story.
no, my shit's pretty depressing.
No, I believe in you, bro. Don't say that.
I'm not. No.
You're living the most
Okay.
Filipinos' dream, dude, because like you have your
I
own
came-
place.
I
Everyone
came
would
from
say,
a broken household.
Oh, getting to that point.
"Fucking hey, hold on, Brad, shut up." No, I was kidding. Wah. No, I was kidding.
Damn.
Get in line. Everyone came from a broken household, dude. Like,
All right.
That's fair. That's-
there's your life lesson. Like, you are not special.
Nope.
Damn. Episode 13.
Episode 13.
I'm also part Cherokee, so
So my great grandmother, it was like full Cherokee. Bro.
Blackfoot.
Yeah. Jack's like Filipino. All right, so that's gonna do it for our show. A little longer than usual, but we had a really good time talking about it. Make sure you go ahead and check out Life Lessons with Uramichi Oniisan. And who wants to do the outro? Brad, okay. Jack, can you do it, please?
Okay. Thank you for joining and watching this episode of Down a Rabbit Hole. We will see y'all next time on the Pixelated Thoughts episode. You guys take care. Deuces.
Bye, everybody. Don't be depressed.